The Player Care Foundation started years ago when there were a lot of stories about ex-NFL players living under bridges, not having homes, just really struggling. And the owners of the National Football League, with Commissioner Paul at that point, started this committee. They brought 4 groups together: the NFL, the Hall of Fame, the Players Association, with the NFL alumni. And our job was to gain some recognition that if some players were out there struggling that needed some assistance, we were put in place to do that.
It's just important that after football that players have a safe haven, and whether you played 1 year, 2 years, or 10 years, there's a place for you to go when you need a question answered or resources for you or your family.
We look at the player, evaluate his needs, and direct him to the source of relief for him.
Since 2007, the Player Care Foundation has been committed to improving the quality of life of retired players.
I would describe the Player Care Foundation basically as your lifeline when you're done playing. For me, when I got done playing, I had no idea where the next steps were, if there was anything for me. I was one of those guys that got 3 credited seasons, so I wasn't sure, hey, do I qualify for this? Do I not qualify for that? And Player Care came in, was able to answer all my questions, and really they were able to give you the tools that you need to take care of yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally.
The Player Care Foundation has served nearly 1,000 athletes, many of them through their financial grant and assistance program. Over the last 10 years, they have given out over $12 million to players in need.
Through the financial assistance program, we help with things ranging from rent, mortgage payments, car payments, utilities. They may have a new addition to their family. We're all here to take care of former players and to improve their quality of life.
The Player Care Foundation provides short-term financial assistance to former players. Anyone who has played at least 1 credited season or 2 practice squad seasons is eligible for the Player Care Foundation.
To find out if a player qualifies for financial assistance or other NFL benefits, the process simply starts with a phone call.
The player will call in and tell his story, and they will have an individual who will be respectful, who understands that the reason why we exist is because we want to give back based on the contributions this individual's made to the game. It's done confidentially. The player, depending upon where he is, will tell us where his needs are, and they can vary, so the case manager listens to it and starts to think, how can I help him with a financial grant? How can I help him with some benefits, NFL benefits that might exist? How can I help him with some of the programs that we have? Or how can I help him by referring him to other organizations that are better suited to do what he needs? Then an application goes out to the player fills out the application, sends it back, we review it. Based on that, a plan is put together on how to help them. The Player Care Foundation is there really to acknowledge the contributions of former players, and we try to do it as respectfully and confidentially as we can.
While the Player Care Foundation prides itself on confidentiality, sometimes someone is courageous enough to share their story.
The biggest highlight of my career was playing against the Houston Oilers. We were down, and we needed to get down the score.
Oilers lead the Broncos 24-23. John Elway has a chance here.
John always had a habit of not really coming to me until it was the second half of the game. And then, he'd fuss and tell me, how you better catch this freaking ball, Vance. And I'm like, dude, if you were throwing this ball to me like this in the first half, we wouldn't be in this mess. We knew we just had to go out and make magic.
Here's the 4th down and 10 play. Elway's got the ball.
When John rolled out and scrambled, he threw kind of the worst pass of his life. It was a duck. I don't even see how I caught it, but I figured I better get as far down the field as possible so that he would have a chance to make that field goal.
Kubiak will hold. Here's the snap. The kick is good! As the Broncos with one of their greatest come from behind win.
It was just a highlight being there. More than anything, it was kind of a love-hate because on the field it was magic, but off the field was real challenging. Unfortunately, I lived as reckless off the field as I did on the field. My addiction started pretty early during my career, but it was manageable. It wasn't until after my career was over with that I started to drink more. I started to take more prescription pills, anything that would take me away from whatever I was feeling. Where things really turned for me was when I got a call from my ex-wife. And so when I picked the phone up, she told me that my son had just gotten killed. And losing him to someone that was drinking and ran a stop sign and killed him, there were no boundaries because my light was out. And it wasn't until I ended up drinking myself into a coma. And I think I heard a voice in my head, "Get some help, Vance, you're gonna die."
At a time when he needed them the most, Vance Johnson's family contacted the Player Care Foundation. Their staff promptly provided Johnson with the resources he needed for rehabilitation.
Once I reached out to the NFL Player Care, it was just all about getting me the help that I needed. I mean, the proof was in the pudding because they responded immediately. They didn't have to, but it's what they do and it's what it was created for. Even after my 28 days that they paid for in rehab and saw that now that I'm clear-minded, that, here are some other things you can do, Vance. You can go to college. We'll pay X amount of money for you to go to college if you didn't graduate. We can help you with your housing. We can help you with living. We can help you with moving. Whatever you need, just tell us what you need. If you fit in this criteria, then there's something that we can do for you.
In addition to a variety of benefits, the Player Care Foundation also offers comprehensive healthy body and mind screenings that are available to any former NFL athlete.
It's about caring for these guys. They're the modern-day gladiators, and at the end of the day, when the lights go off, it's still important that we help care for them. We understand dealing with athletes. We understand being in a locker room. We truly believe that it is our honor to be able to care for these guys.
130/84, pulse is 46.
130/84, pulse is 46.
I just went through the screening myself. You got blood work, you got carotid arteries, you got an EKG. They check out everything. I can turn to the Player Care Foundation, and they're going to give me a top-ranked, first-class screening to spell out where am I lacking, where's the weakness of my defense, have to get checked, early detection on everything.
Got a chance to see my heart for the first time. That was pretty cool. Today was a very special day for me because it put me in a position to be very conscious of where I am physically and just kind of have a measurement of where I am and where I need to be.
As you go through all the different tests, it's very personal. You don't feel rushed, you don't feel exposed. Everything's very nice and neat. Everybody's professional. To be able to come here and get a $10,000 healthcare screening absolutely free, to me is a no-brainer. It's something that if you don't take advantage of something like this, you're just hurting yourself.
This screening program is available to anybody who stepped foot on a practice field. So if you've just been on a practice squad, you're still eligible to come and participate in the screening.
10 screenings are held annually in locations that are tied to pro football-related events.
We are always at the Super Bowl and at the Hall of Fame in Canton, as well as the draft. We try and hit every city that has a team on a rotating basis so that we can bring the program to players all around the country.
Nearly 5,000 retired players have participated in the screenings, and some results have proved life-saving.
Since we started to offer these services, each and every time there have been former players that have found out about symptoms and diseases. We have had many players diagnosed with prostate cancer as well as heart disease, things that they would have never known.
Just that alone, even if it just saves one guy, it's important. These are tests that I'll never go do on my own. I'll never go doctor to doctor to doctor all over the town I live in. This is a much needed service, and it's something that you're not going to get anywhere else. And you get to do it around other former NFL guys.
The Player Care Foundation is for camaraderie, resources, and hope, and can act as a lifeline for any former player seeking assistance.
No one forgets that our players are the game. Don't be afraid to take that initial step and ask for the help, because that's why we are here.
We really have a mission to make this something that every player knows about and every player utilizes so that there's no one left behind. We want to make sure that all of the brothers in arms are well taken care of.
We're always doing our best every day. The players can rest assured that we definitely have their best interest at heart.
Player Care Foundation was there when I needed them the most. They were my last hope, and they didn't let me down. Don't suffer out there in silence for years and years and years when there is help. Don't not make that call, because there's anything that you could probably need, whether it's financial, health, medical, anything is available through the Player Care Foundation.
Because of the Player Care Foundation, I am free. I'm free of the lies. I'm free from the addictions. I would absolutely encourage any former professional football player to reach out to the Player Care Foundation for any type of need you have so that you can start living a normal life again.